Welcome to Goodnight Book with Erica and Nate.
The Spam Corporation is calling me. Hormel.
Oh no,
It's calling me
good.
Austin, Minnesota.
Get some of that weird ass
Spiced ham.
meat.
That's what it stands for, you know.
Product.
Do you know that that's what it
No.
stands for? Spiced ham.
It's they were the first to do like the hybrid words then, huh? We like to just
portmanteau. I actually got a surgery on my portmanteau recently.
Did you have gout on your portmanteau and that's why you had to have surgery?
Yeah. I'm about the gout, and you know that. I always have them.
You're a man about gout.
Without a doubt, I'm about the gout. That's what I wrote in your yearbook, remember?
Yes, I do. And then I got really pissed and we got in a fight.
Speaking of portmanteau, today we are, of course, talking about Harry the Dirty Dog by Jayan and Mara Bloyam. I was trying to make, or maybe by what would it be?
Jean
Jargrit?
Zion.
Or
Okay.
Or G-Grit, I guess. I don't know, but it's written by Jean Zion and illustrated by Margaret Graham. You know, I think she was actually a distant relative of Jerry Lewis. Slavin.
That's where he got that bit from.
Yeah, that's exactly where. Do you want to? So this is Harry the Dirty Dog. Do you want to do synopses?
Yeah, can I just jump right in here?
If you want to, sure. Just the water's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Okay, here we go. It is about a small family with a white dog who has black spots, and yet this family doesn't recognize their own pet after said pet has a series of adventures in a very toxic landscape. The end. Oh wait, not yet.
Not yet. Well, that's, I guess, the end of the show. By rule, we have to actually end the podcast and start another
I forgot about the
episode.
bylaws.
Yeah,
shoot,
bylaws,
sorry.
The high laws and bylaws. Okay, here's mine.
Okay.
Oh, I feel like a tag to yours could be, this family does see color. Okay. Okay, here's
Exactly.
my synopsis is, a dog who rebels against his family's expectations. A dog rebels against his family's expectations until his family eventually rejects him until he proves himself to them, just like most families.
A tale as old as time.
I wrote that right after therapy. Sorry. Just kidding. So I've never read this book. I wasn't familiar with this tome, I will say. Tome? Do you say tome or tomb?
I would say tome, but I also like the fact that it feels like a death throw.
It definitely does. It definitely does. Yeah, I went there. So what is your history with this book?
Well, we did used to read this to Olive quite a bit. We gotten it as a gift. I don't think I would have sought this out. It's from 1956. Has that kind of like dreamy time warp quality to it. So, you know, which is kind of sweet in and of itself, but there's so much out there. If we hadn't gotten it as a gift, I don't think we would have read it to her. But it's like, you know, kind of a classic, very harmless. And
probably
you
not
know,
to the
would
dog.
Make it into its rotation. Not for the dog.
Yeah, I think he's
The dog is in
getting a lot
harm's
of
way a lot.
carcinogens. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
Xenobiotics.
the highlights are, I mean, people can kind of get the gist of the story if you haven't read it, but it is a part of a series of Harry books.
Well, let's
Harry.
talk about this story really quick, because what Harry does is he basically doesn't want to take a bath, so he buries his brush, overreacts after that, really commits after that, and just leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of like, why'd you bury the brush? You know, you kind of wasted your time
right.
there. You could have just gotten away faster.
Just gone.
And they don't apparently care anyway. They don't give a shit. A bath is probably for them. So he really just blew his lid for no reason. Anyway, so he goes away and walks around and, doesn't want to, get clean. So he gets dirtier and dirtier until his family rejects him. And then eventually he gets, basically gets clean so then they can accept him again. Which made me wonder if this is like a drug allegory,
Oh,
an addiction allegory. I was pretty high on the horse, if you know what I mean, when that happened. When I was thinking this, though, the horse.
When you were reading this?
Yeah.
This is I know what
The
H
dragon,
is.
the dragon.
Mhm.
H. The poppies, you know what I mean?
The poppies, yeah.
The poppies and the mommies. Oh, speaking of which, I kind of suspected that perhaps this was a British book or a British author because of the mummy in there.
There's a mummy?
Yeah, at the end when they're washing her, she says, "Look, mummy," or something like that.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought you meant like.
There's
Wow.
a mummy.
Here's where my brain went. Was that there was an actual entombed mummy, and it was, you were saying it was British because how much other archaeological artifacts that the British have stolen across
Wow.
their empire over the years.
You made it very political.
Yeah.
That's very funny. Yeah,
Mummy, daddy.
Mummy, daddy.
Okay.
But they're not British. But that did lead me to. I had two questions spring from this. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
mummy or mother? If you had to be called by Olive, mummy or mother all the time, which would you prefer? What did she call you, mom, most of the time?
Yeah, Mama. I get Mama still.
Oh, that's cute. Did she ever say Erica? Did she ever call you Erica?
When she's yelling for me across the playground and I'm not paying attention, she'll drop an Erica.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's great. It's really funny. It's just a really weird moment.
It is jarring.
Oh,
West calls.
I don't
says
call
that
my
to me
parents by their
sometimes.
names. Do you? Do you say Terry and Roberta?
I call your parents by their names.
Yes, you can do that. You can do that.
No, I don't call them Terry and Roberta.
Okay.
But I do. Mummy or mother, which would you pick?
Mummy. Mother just
It's like
indicates hostility
Mhm.
or like a harsh upbringing.
hello,
Like
mother.
kids, like there's something about Flowers in the Attic. You ever remember that book or that movie where the kids had like a very particular way that they had to address the very
Mother.
proper.
It also seems a little serial killy, maybe. Hello.
Yeah,
mummy.
Norman Bates.
I guess mummy.
What about you? Would it be, how about like,
Duddy?
what's the mummy version of dad?
Duddy. Hello, Duddy. Hello, Duddy. Or father. I think I'd enjoy a father. I think father would be very funny if they just did call me father. Father. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it would be like so against my type that it would be very funny. But no, I wouldn't like it. I would prefer Duddy, I guess. Dadu is what 80 calls me a lot. Dadu.
Oh, that's pretty cute. Yeah.
And that's fine. So the second question was mummy or werewolf? If you had to pick.
Is it? Are you gonna leave it as open ended as that, or can I get a little bit more context?
Well, it's not like you would be those, but like it's kind of like if you could either hang out, if you had to like be friends with a mummy or a werewolf. Let's say that.
I just think werewolves are scarier and maybe a little cooler than a mummy. Even though we might have a better conversation, a mummy has seen a lot, but I don't know if they'd actually be able to talk.
Not to mention they've just been on the ground like most of the time.
No, I mean, who's to say that they don't raise out of the ground every century?
From time to time. Still.
Yeah, like why are they here now? They maybe have
every
like
century for how long? Like an hour, 2 hours, a couple days, a week? What do you got? And then it's back,
I'm not sure about
it's
the parameters of this curse, but
back to bed.
it's probably I'd say is that I think it's usually like the duration of the moon. You know, there's something to do with the moon, so they'd get a night.
Okay.
I could figure some shit out.
I guess it would be like low stakes. You wouldn't have to hang out. You know, like if you're going to be friends with him, you'd only have to see him once in your life, probably.
Yeah.
Whereas like a werewolf.
Well, and the
Maybe,
werewolf
like-
too.
I feel like a werewolf could be like totally normal, or could be just a normal asshole that you don't like, and then once a month they're like a huge asshole, right, ladies? You know what I mean? Am I right?
Yes. Oh my god.
That was
Okay,
yeah,
so where are you landing? You're just trying to work through it with me.
werewolf. I think mummies gross me out. It's like they're too shrivelly, and that old cloth. I don't know. Something about it grosses me out. Maybe if they were in a bag or something, it would be fine.
Like a see-through, but like, are you not? I need more understanding of what this bag is.
Well, they would just be like a normal mummy, but just in a big bag, so that they don't like get like old
There's stuff all
dust
over
on
you.
my chair or whatever.
Or you could just coat your furniture with the like plastic cover that
I don't
grandparents
feel like
used to
that's
have.
on me, especially just for one night.
True.
One
What are you
night.
doing? And then maybe there's like a kind of interview situation. Like, what are you doing, mommy, to prevent yourself from dropping all over my living room? Maybe they have their own armor.
And maybe they have their own concerns too. You know, like what if
Smallpox.
smallpox? Sure. Or what if my house is made of water slides? That wouldn't be very good for the mummy. I feel like it would get it all wet and suck. Like, would you want to be all sopping wet for your whole because this is not wicking fabric. Do you know what I mean?
No,
This is like old.
there was not wicking
fabric. This is not no wicking technology here.
Although I think they probably did it with linen because they only had like natural fibers to make with.
You're probably right.
That's
So I guess
just going down a non-funny.
so you'd want to make that night a summer evening, probably.
After
Although
Memorial Day.
if they're wearing the bag, yeah. Well, I guess a lot of mummies typically appear to be dressed in white, so you can't do it after Labor Day, for sure.
No, it's got to be between some
Between the
very
days.
small window here.
Speaking of small windows, did you notice how small those windows were in that house in the book? Sorry, that was my segue to get back in. I did not.
We had to get off
I
it.
definitely did not notice that. But I'm taking a look now to see if there's anything remarkably small about these windows.
I did
Nope.
not.
Very normal size.
Okay.
Very normal size. Oh, but this did like make me think of Mistaken Identity a bit. Freaky Friday type stuff. You know, like did you ever think about that, or do you ever think about that? Not like what you would say to your family to get them to believe that it was you. Like if you were suddenly in somebody else's body, how would you convince them that you were actually you?
I'm sure I have thought about that because there was
First
a big run on those movies for a long time, right?
First you take a bath, obviously, just to see if it works for you too. That was Harry's big idea. So just see, and then you're like, huh? And they're like, what? Get out of my bathtub, stranger.
You're creeping me out.
Now you've really crossed the line. I'm calling the police.
I don't know. I feel like it'd have to be about like a weird spot on my body, or
What about like a weird? I feel like it would be easier for me with Viv than with Wes or something.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
Viv,
Oh,
we
yeah.
have enough shared history and inside jokes that almost no one would know about, that I could list a bunch probably, and then maybe combine that with like numbers, like social security number type numbers.
Oh yeah,
Even though
yeah.
those would be fakeable, but you know somebody could have your identity, or
Yeah, I know.
have my identity.
Well,
Yeah,
I
what-
think that the ones that are, I mean, like switching body, like of all the, like the Freaky Friday stuff, I was just, for some reason, this other one popped into my head. And there's like a spectrum of, like convincing people that you are trapped in something else, right? So there's the Freaky Friday where the people switch roles and they know they've switched roles and then they play along. And then there's like, there's a cartoon we just watched that somebody turns a man into a pigeon. And so he's like a totally different creature.
Right.
And then there's Inner Space. Do you remember Inner Space? With
I
a
do.
Quaid and a Martin Short.
Dennis Quaid.
And he's got to convince somebody that there's a little man in a spaceship in his body in order to get help. I mean, of all the plots.
Wait, no.
That one is...
I think it's. Wait, who's he? Martin Short?
Yeah.
Okay, I was imagining the opposite, but it's Martin Short with Dennis Quaid inside him, and Dennis Quaid has to convince maybe Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
That he's in there, and he has to. So.
Yep.
He ends up having to say a bunch of romantic thing, or whatever. The only line I remember, one line from it. I don't remember it exactly, but this is from when I was a kid and I watched it. This line's really stuck with me. He goes, he's in the bathroom and he's like at the urinal and he's talking to Dennis Quaid and he's like, but you're basically talking about how small he is and like and all this, and he's like looking down, and this other guy walks in and is like looking at him. He's like, "Play with it, pal, but don't talk to it." That was it.
I remember that. Yeah.
So yeah. Interspace Big is a good example. Actually, there's a good scene in that where Tom Hanks has to convince his little friend that it's really him. When he needs help, and he does the shimmy, shimmy, Cocoa Pop, shimmy, shimmy, rock. That's actually apparently Tom Hanks brought that to the production. It was his son's. It was a thing that his son did at camp. Colin, actually.
Colin. Now that we know.
Yeah, he did it at camp, right? Shimmy, shimmy, Cocoa Pop, shimmy, shimmy, Bob.
Shimmy, shimmy. We were talking about Camp Chance. The whole bear hunt thing was a camp.
Camp.
John.
So there's Big. There's. I know what I would do with Viv. I just thought of something. Okay. Because it's a very obscure inside joke. And it's so... Dawson's Creek came out on Netflix it came to Netflix around 2010 or 8 or 9. And we were in Portland at the time. That's the only reason I remember. But they couldn't get the real opening, the Sarah McLachlan song or the Paula Cole song. I don't remember. One of the
What?
They couldn't get the rights to it which was the opening credits. So they had to change it, and they came up with this like stock music kind that was like, it goes, "Your heart is in my hands, your something is in my something," and Viv was like watching it a lot, and so I would just hear it, and then we'd start coming up with like, "Your fart is in my pants." So it was like, so we'd just keep like coming up with new lyrics to that part. So I'd probably say, "Viv, it's me. It's really me. Your fart is in my pants." She'd be like, "Whoa, there's no way anyone else would know that." Or she'd be like, "I don't remember that." And I'd be like, "Oh, shit."
She has too much blind panic to be like, "I don't know what you're doing right now."
Or it's just like we just remember different things. I'm like, "Oh, no, remember?" Yeah.
I think with Brett, it would be, we were driving home before we were dating. We used to carpool to college a lot together, and we had a really late night where we were working on some studio project, and we were driving home. It was probably like 4 a.m. We were so tired, and we were driving along the river road, and it was very silent. We were just like kind of like stoned on being tired. And he sees like out of the corner of his eye some movement, and as a bunny starts to like dare to hop into the road, he just like flips out and starts yelling, "Bunny, bunny, bunny!" Like, and I kind of like swerve and it was fine. We missed the bunny, but then afterwards I just stared at him and I was like, "What the fuck?" And we just started laughing. So
you'd say bunny, bunny.
It was
bunny.
just like so out of the rhythm of where we were at, and he overreacted so much.
It's like the only way to react at all was to overreact.
Fucking scream at me. Like, okay. I got it. And now I'm that terrible person as a driver. I'm always like putting my hand down whenever he isn't slowing down the way I think he should. Oh, a whole other conversation. Poor Brett.
Poor Brett. I say snide comments as a passenger. That's I am a passive aggressive passenger. A passenger
Oh, that's
aggressive. Yeah, it is really fun.
I have
bet.
Brett loves it when he gets to drive. I have a question for you about this black and white thing.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to being my baby, if it matters, is that what you're asking? When
No.
it comes to being my baby, we're not talking about Michael Jackson anymore. I guess. Don't want to bring it up. I guess. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I know.
Black and white deal.
For sure. No, then no, black and white. What was I going to say? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Has anybody ever answered the age-old question? Is a zebra a black horse with white stripes, or a white horse with black stripes? Have we ever?
Is an answer, and I forget what it is. Let's try to think of it now. I remember looking at something and being like, "Oh, interesting." That's that's everything that I know. I mostly remember asking the question. I'm more focused on. I guess I'm just like a seeker, Erica. I guess I just. It's more about the journey than the information. That's what they always say.
Yep, that's
but
true.
Yeah, I think it's that they are. Well, I would say, does this matter at all that when they're babies, they're white and brown? So the white is the constant.
Consistent, yeah.
So that makes me think, well, I guess really they're neither. Although if you think about how they look in certain parts of their body, on their chests and stuff, on their glorious chest, I don't want to get too sexy, but
yeah,
I think they are white.
Okay. I think so too, but then I felt like, am I being biased?
Maybe.
Is everything white with black accents?
I was thinking you don't see a lot of black dogs with white spots. Right?
No, you don't.
But maybe you just don't see many black dogs. Like maybe the number of
There's
black
a ton
dogs.
of black dogs.
Oh, really? There's a song about it. That's right.
The Led Zeppelin song?
A Zed Zeppelin song, yeah. That's my cover band. We switch all the first letters of all the lyrics. It takes a long time you gotta write it all down and then memorize it. But
oh my god, that sounds like a tiresome concept.
Oh, trust me, it really is. I think we should there should be a Sarah McLachlan like cover band that makes does funny lyrics, and it's called Sarah McLaughlin. Pretty good.
That's great.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, that's really all we had. Oh, sorry. You don't know.
It?
Okay.
I thought that's how you said her name. I learned so much today.
It's not. It's Canadian. You wouldn't. It's a Canadian thing. You wouldn't understand. Well, that's all we really have to say about Harry the Dirty Dog. If you enjoy the show, please rate and review and tell somebody you like about us. And if you don't like it, well, fuck off. For a transcript of this episode or any episode, please send a self-addressed stamped envelope to the address on your screen, and we will send you a post-it note back that just says, "Well, we don't have that." Until next time, good night, Mush. Good night, creepy old lady. And good night, Book.
The end.